Dominic, Tiffany, location.
Good to see you.
Does it get any better than this, does it?
Hi, Nikki. Good to see you.
Wow, it's been such an incredible journey to be here with you guys today. There's so much history. Tell us about how we got here.
How did we get here? Well, it's a long story. So first of all, this is our 40th year celebration. So that's something we're very proud of. And in those 40 years, we've actually built 40,000 homes. So this is our 40-40 celebration. I add my own 40 because I actually started in real estate exactly 40 years ago this past February. So it's been quite a journey for our team. But this location here, we're in a building we've built here, Daniels Waterfront, and there's two high-rise towers that you probably noticed when you're driving into the north of us, and then these two condominium office buildings that we built. So we take up this beautiful 8th floor and most of the 9th floor, and we moved in here in 2019. Initially, the company name on the sign is the Daniels Corporation, and that was founded by Mr. John Daniels back in 1984, but he had a long history in this industry well before that. So he was the chairman of Cadillac Fairview going back to the 1950s. So he's the person behind buildings like the Eaton Center, the TD Center. So a lot of history to this company, a lot of depth of talent that goes back so many years.
Dominic, with such a robust history and such strong roots with Cadillac Fairview and all these other things that have been achieved, what is it that a builders like Daniels takes into consideration when they look at a site? Like, why is it that you guys are investing in places like the GTA? Tell us more about that thought process.
Well, when we look at a site, for us, it's about building more than just one building. So a lot of builders will focus on a location, put up one tower, and then they move on to a different location. You know, we like to be able to create a master plan community where we're building sustainable, inclusive communities, multi-generational, multi-purpose, multi-use communities. Trying to build out communities that are going to be there for the future, where people can grow, live in, and you're, multi-generational, where there's a starter home, there's a place where some of the seniors would be looking at, where you have shopping, where you have amenities. So our focus really is on that bigger planning, and that's where the depth of the talent that we have here.
So it's a good point, Dominic, that you brought up with multi-generational homes. That's so needed in the demographic that we're in right now. A lot of builders compromise on the quality of work that they bring to the shop floor with their consumers. I'd like to know how Daniels works with quality.
So that's a really good question. The first part of it is to kind of deconstruct that. And what I mean by that is we often refer to developers just as builders, but the truth is only a very, very small percentage of developers are actually builders, right? So most of them, they will purchase a piece of land, they're going to do the development of it, and they're going to sell it. And then what do? They hire a general contractor who goes and builds it for them. So that's where you lose quality control, right? You're not the actual constructor. You're hiring a contractor to do the construction. That's 97% of the industry, right? So when you think of how small the number of developers like ourselves who are a developer and actually a builder as well, there's very few of us. But by building it ourselves, that's how we are able to keep control of everything. And that's really the foundation of our success, is that it's a vertically integrated company where for the consumer, from the moment they first walk into one of our presentation centers to the day they're doing the pre-delivery inspection to see their beautiful new home, they're dealing with the Daniels employee who has a vested interest in delivering quality throughout the process.
So guys, when it comes to quality of life, a big part of loving the home that you live in is that it keeps up with the wants and needs of that consumer's changing mindset. When you look at a project that launches, for example, today, the stuff that's going to come down the pipeline 5 or 6 or even 10 years down the road may be different. How do you guys bake that into what it is that you're selling at the end of the day?
That's actually a really good question, and something people should be focused on when they're purchasing. When you think about the cost of all of the mechanics that go into a new condominium today, the replacement of that or catching up on technology 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road is very substantial, and ultimately the cost is borne by the purchaser. So one of the things, or I would say the pillars of what we're focused on today is what we call our decarbonization roadmap. And we all know how important sustainability is for the future of our environment, our communities, quality of life. We are trying to build communities right now that I like to call it future-proofing. And what I mean by that is that we're trying to introduce technologies into our construction, into the way our buildings live, that will live 10, 15, 20 years down the road. So for example, geothermal heating and cooling rather than the old boiler system. You think of, well, what does that mean? Well, in terms of cost, you're replacing these boilers that are gas-fired and creating all of this carbon in the atmosphere, which is so bad for quality of life. You're talking about millions of dollars of costs somewhere in the future that the owners of that condominium are going to have to go through. And we're already at a stage, as part of the Paris Accords and the agreements we've said we are going to try to live up to. In order to do that, these things have to be done now. But when you look at current building code, it really isn't addressing that yet. So we're not looking at this from a building code standpoint. We're looking at what do these communities need into the future? How do we get to near zero carbon emissions in the communities we're building? And so there's a lot of different things that goes into it. It's construction materials, and it's also then how does the building live once the building is completed.
That's a really good example, and MPV is one of those projects that we launched last year where we did geothermal. So we have a geothermal high-rise condominium with those heat pumps that are electric in the building, and we also have townhomes there that have solar panels.
So Dominic, obviously when you're putting together these massive projects, consumer satisfaction, it just bleeds into everything we're talking about here. What is it that you guys really value in terms of delivering the type of products? What goes into making sure that the consumers are satisfied, and what's the thought process involved in all of that?
Two of our core values are integrity and quality, and putting people first. We always put that in the forefront of everything we're doing. So we talked about what do we do when we're building a new community. The quality of what we're doing is just key to us. And one of the reasons why we're so often, we're recently at the Build Awards, which is the industry associations for new construction, and we won the Home Builder of the Year last year, both with Build and provincially as well. But over the 40 years, we were always in the top 2 or 3. And the reason is that focus on quality. And part of that, when I talk about integrity, is when we're building, we do what's right. So sometimes you could be in a situation where what you need to do to build it right is going to cost you more. But we'll do it anyways, because that's the most important thing. Before we look at cost, we say, what is the right thing to do? What is the enjoyment of this community from our buyer standpoint? When they move in, are they going to be proud of this home? I think when you first walked in, we talked about our sign that says, Daniels, love where you live. That's really part of what's really ingrained in us to right from the very beginning when we envision a community, we want to build a community where the person who's buying truly will love where they live.
And our homeowner satisfaction survey is living proof. So we sent out a survey to all of our purchasers, and 90% would recommend us to excellent for our peer delivery inspection, and then 86% would recommend us for our customer service, and 83% would recommend us to our friends and family.
So Tiffany, it's evident that Daniels love their homes. It's also evident that the purchasers and the consumers that are looking for a Daniels home, they know exactly what they're looking for. They have expectations. They love where they live. Tell us from your point of view how you feel the client or the customers should look for, or what is it that they should have a thought of behind their purchasing, or behind just the demographics or the actual bricks and mortar of Daniels?
So I think the biggest thing is that you want to look for a reputable builder. There's so many builders out there, and as I mentioned, Daniels has been around for 40 years. So, we have our skin in the game, so to speak. You can look on Terrion and see, customer satisfaction reviews. Whether you're looking on Google, you can find reviews there as well. And friends and family, repeat referral business. So we have clients all over the place that are, part of our fan club. They, have bought at numerous projects projects, and they come back because of our quality, our customer care, and their satisfaction.
Dominic, there's no stop to what you guys are doing. What's in the pipeline? What's next? What can we expect?
Wow, we've got such a deep pipeline over the next few years that we're excited about. In the near term, we have a great project called Oakville Yards in North Oakville at Dundas and Trafalgar, where we're building 3 new buildings, and we're hoping to come out with that this fall. We're also adding to our Square One district right by Square One Shopping Mall in partnership with our partners at Oxford. And it's a building that we'd already sold out, but we got approval to build 3 new floors. So it's going to go 45 to 48 stories, and we're going to be releasing those 3 exclusive floors this fall as well.